Welcome to day 3 of our mentor series, The Gift and Power of Mentors. I hope you've enjoyed the last 2 days, and I am going to be so transparent. You know, I am. The wonderful woman that is coming on today, she is from Australia. So we are recording this actually on Sunday, and we're uh, broadcasting this live today. So I am grateful for her because we are global, and I wanted to bring the best that we have to offer right now. And so I cannot wait to introduce you to this wonderful woman. Welcome to day 3 of our series, The Gift and Power of a Mentor. Today, coming from Australia, is the intuitive mentor, Downie. Di has taken thousands of women from confusion to clarity, from frustration to freedom, with her 5D, 3-step proven system, the Downie method. Defining ideas into action, developing that action into a clear roadmap, empowering self-direction. Her transferable skills have been applied to multinational companies. Her tools and compassion and processes have transformed women and their families like yours globally. Di has had her own radio show, been featured on global TV, magazines, and radio stations, is a best-selling author, founder of Global Women's Voice, and mother of 2 and grandmother to 2 bouncing baby boys. Di Downie, welcome to Coffee with Kim. What an experience this is going to be. I'm so excited.
Kim, what a beautiful introduction.
Oh,
Thank you
it's
so
easy.
much for asking me.
Yes, when it's easy, right? When it's someone like you who is just a light in this world, and you work mostly with women. And you and I came to meet about a year and a half ago when both of us have a mentor, Joe Bauer, brought us together. And I have to say, I have been watching you. And what I've learned is that people watch us. They watch what we do. And I have watched you. I have admired you. I have learned from you. And so I want everyone to hear your story. So as what we do at Coffee with Kim, we introduce here, but I want them to hear a little bit of your story, and then we're going to have a great conversation. Okay.
My story's long. You asked me story. You asked me where I want to start.
Tell them how you got to be where you are right now.
Well, gosh, there's lots of turns and twists in life, isn't there? You know, I'm not 20, 30, 40, or even 50 any longer. And it's like not even 60 any longer. Right now, as we were just saying before we went live here, is that the last 3 months I have spent traveling. And that last 3 months has allowed me to really cumulate and take some time to myself as to what defines me and why are women in such this pretense state of mind and soul right at this point. And I think that there were a lot of things that came out of that because I'm basically a country girl. I grew up in the country. I grew up with brothers. I grew up with lots of busyness, lots of animals, lots of nature. And here I have been the last 10 years or so traveling the world, teaching people how to be themselves. I mean, really, it just seems like it's so natural. So why are we in this pretense mode? That's where I've got to.
Okay. So, all right. So you grew up with family. You always were in Australia?
Well, I've always been Australian. I was born and bred in Western Australia. I still live in Western Australia. And of course, with COVID, I haven't traveled out of Western Australia.
Yeah. Okay. What got you into women? How did you get into this helping them?
I've been coaching for about 35 years, off and on. And I started a coaching academy in maybe the early 90s, where I brought coaches or people who wanted to coach, people who thought, men and women, people who thought that they had something to offer. And those people range from very, very successful men, businessmen, to hairdressers, to beauty therapists, to real estate agents, a varied skill-based people. And what I learned from that is that people were clueless on what was important to them. So I have developed products over the years as to what are people's values, how do they get onto a mission, how do they create that from their values, how do they stay on track. And so my 3D main points that I teach now is how can you actually define what your purpose is? And that seems to be so cliche now, but how do you actually define what your purpose is? Why are we here?
Right.
And then how can you develop those skills?
Yes. Yes. No, it is, because it's been difficult for me, right? I had my sister and my niece here this weekend, and my niece was just like, how do I find it? Right. And, I do so many different things. And I think that that's a thing I hear a lot, right? I do so many different things. And so how do you bring people into that center?
How I started that many years ago was I listened to people and I heard that they didn't know how to articulate what was important to them. And nowadays we call it values. There's values driven programs and different values, and what does this word mean for different people. And a lot of people will say, and it's really surprising. I want to make one point here is when I ask people and I put them through my values program, they will always choose, well, my top value is my family. But of course, that's the very point that women actually get stuck. Of course, family is our top value, but what are the 4 core values underneath those? That's important family mode that we go into, that what's really important to us, what sings to us, what do we love. And I think that's really the distinctions of how people can really start to tap into what their purpose is.
Yeah, it's amazing. My youngest daughter, she said to me that you said something right there that really struck home. She's like, Mom, I really feel like you found your purpose. And I said, oh, you don't think my purpose was raising you kids? She goes, that's something you do, Mom. That's just something you do. But who you are aside from our family is what your purpose is.
Yeah.
And I thought, for a 20-year-old young woman to get that, I was like, wow.
We live in a very different era. I have a 40-year-old daughter and I have a 35-year-old daughter, and those kids are so intuitive. And the things that come out of their mouths are so off, and then some things are so on.
Yes.
And they're so off because there's so much information right now, and there has been for the last 20 years.
Yes.
And yet they're so on because I would like to think that I have given them some good routines and rituals in their life so that they can actually direct themselves and and really think for themselves as they bring up their own children.
Yes, no, I agree. I'm glad you're just bringing up all the stuff that I've been wanting to ask you. You call yourself the intuitive mentor, which I think is beautiful. And I would love for everyone to hear what that means. Because you don't hear that. At least I haven't.
Well, for me, I really think that we are all intuitive. And I don't have any more intuition than you or anybody else listening to this show or anybody else on the planet.
Yes.
And so for me, I will really want to embellish that word intuition. And so why wouldn't I call myself an intuition mentor? Because people go, well, I'm intuitional too. And I go, yes, you are. And how do you use it? Yeah. That's exactly the point. This is not rocket science.
Right. We make things so much harder, I think, on us than it needs to be. Right. And I love the title, that you chose for today, because you said we're all mentors. We're all intuitive,
Mm.
but how we use that matters.
Yeah.
So in your experience, in your life experience, and I'm sorry, I had no idea. You look like you're probably 40. So I was just like, okay, wow. So how do we use it?
I think for me, it's about my routines and rituals. It's like, how do I take care of myself? And how have I taken care of myself? And how can I say no? And how can I say yes? Not only to the outside of me, but to the inside of me.
Yes.
And those routines and rituals include things that we hear about now a lot: meditation, journaling, walking on the beach, being in nature. Those simple things, which is really trendy now, I've been doing for 40, 50 years.
Oh, wow.
This is not new.
Yeah.
And so I suppose it shows. And, I rarely do I burn myself now. But it doesn't mean to say that it's not going to happen.
Yes.
And I think that that keeps me out of the pretense of what's really going on for me. As I said, I'm not in my 50s, I'm in my 60s now. And I hope that I have learned some skills along the way so that I can be the best mentor that I can be, especially to my two daughters, now my two grandsons. And I live in a community of young people,
Oh,
which is
wow.
beautiful.
Yes.
So I have influence on a lot of young people, kids.
That's amazing. And we need that. We all need that. I needed reminding, right? Before we came on today, I told you that, sometimes we do know better. I know better because, 12, 13 years ago, I had a health crisis and I had to put things back together. And this last week, right, there's things that I have very passion that I'm trying to get, released and launched and put out. And I ran myself, like you just said, into the ground. And I needed to go back to nature. I needed to go back to that grounding, that connecting, right? And I had my sister remind me. I had, a friend in Singapore who, is saying, Kim, I see what you're doing. Stop. I have people that want and our bodies warn us, right? If we're aware. But I keep thinking, okay, I can just keep going. I can just keep going. And my body said enough is enough. And I couldn't move my neck for 2 days.
And I think that's the very thing, is we don't need to push ourselves into the ground. Women are made to have space in their body.
I love that. We're made
We
to take care
truly
of
are.
ourselves. We
We
are.
are. We are nurturers. So please, if nothing comes out of this interview, is how do you nurture yourself? We're all so good at nurturing other people and keeping other people's
Yes.
logistics in our mind.
Yes.
And saying, yes, I can do this, and yes, I can do that. Or saying, no, I deserve time, or this is my time. How can that balance come from really what you need as a woman? As a woman.
Yeah.
And I
Wow.
suppose for me, I have to emphasize that woman, the femininity, that
Yes.
goddess. And
Oh,
that
I love
again
that.
sounds cliche,
No,
but for
it's
me,
beautiful.
it's like, we forget. Women forget how to have fun. We forget how to be fabulous. We forget how to, live and just do our favorite stuff.
Yep. Yeah. I'm grateful for the people, my children. Like you said, you have your daughters, right? I'm grateful for my daughters who remind me. I watch them and I'm like, oh, I used to do that. Well, why am I not doing it now? Right. And I everything you are saying is just literally ringing so true to me right now. And I know it is speaking to others that are watching right now. And I'm so grateful for that. So
Well, I hope it is speaking to them.
what? Yeah.
I hope it is speaking to them internally, really, and not from a point of view, oh yeah, I've heard this before.
Right.
Because it takes a little while of hearing through that pretense and that wall of I'm okay and I can keep going. And women are not made to keep going. We're just not made to keep going. We're made to take space. We're made to have that space.
So if you have the woman, so what are you hearing from the women in your neighborhood? When I hear and I talk to women here, it's the overwhelm of taking care of children, the making sure they have to work, they have to do, their have to do's, right? To just get through and survive. So how do you help people get to that point where they can carve out that little space or big space for themselves?
Well, and I think that's the actual key is, can they carve out time? I sort of get a little bit sick and tired of what comes out of my mouth is, are you carving out time? Here I am carving out time. I've just carved out 3 months. I run a business.
Yeah.
And how have I set up my life so that I can still run that business and still have more time to myself so that I can actually see what I'm composing in my life? And so again, if you take away nothing else, can you carve out time for yourself and be able to do it in a way that suits you?
Mm-hmm.
And how, suppose what is the distinction? Uh-oh.
What?
We've just gone off the air. Can you
No,
still
we're
see
still
me?
going. We're still going.
Oh, I just went blank. My whole screen just went blank.
Oh, no, we still saw you.
Okay, I probably had a really surprised look on my face.
Yeah,
Because,
no, you're beautiful.
yes, it's, I'm not seeing me on the screen at all, which is bizarre.
Yeah, but we can see you. And so
Okay.
I'm crossing our fingers that at least, that's what I'm seeing is it's what's being recorded. So,
Okay. Fabulous. Okay, I lost my train of thought there.
You were talking about, the carving out part, right? And how do we, we pile all the other things on top of us. How do we take that time? And if we take something, what piece do we start with?
For me, I can tell you what I start with. So I have about 15 or 16 different types of meditations on my computer and or on my phone that I have near my bed.
Wow.
And every morning after I've woken up, I have peed, I have had a drink of lemon and vinegar, which I have set up from the night before in my bathroom. Then I would go and meditate. And I do that in my bed. I just press the button. Nothing happens until I've taken that time. And I ask myself specific questions. And I thank my body for being healthy. I thank my mind for being clear. I thank the people around me for being supportive. And then I might ask myself a question of, what do I need to focus on today? And I wait and I listen to the music.
Oh, wow.
So simple little things like that with a structure. I'm really big these days on systems. And what I mean by systems is, how can you have something that you do really ritualistic? Mm-hmm. And that's what I would call a ritualistic start to your day. And then I get up and do my yoga, I go for my walk, I go for my swim. And people will have different exercises to move their body. Moving their body comes after the mind in my world.
Okay.
I take care of my mind first. Well, first of all, I take care of my body by peeing and by alkalining my body.
Wow. And so it's lemon and vinegar?
Yes, apple cider vinegar. Little dash of apple cider vinegar with my lemon and ginger.
Lemon and ginger. Okay. Well, I'm going to try that.
Yeah. So I make my lemon and ginger in the morning, in the evening before I go to bed, and I would drink probably half of that if I'm thirsty. Okay. And I'd have it beside my bed. And then in the morning, when I get up and pee, I would fill that cup up with warm water, not cold. You don't drink cold water in the morning. And then a little dash of apple cider vinegar, and I would drink whatever I need, whether I'm thirsty or not thirsty. Then lay down again, click my button.
Oh, wow. Okay. No,
It's all about setting your life up.
It is.
Good
It is.
rituals.
Rituals and systems. No, I'm definitely working on that myself, as I'm making a transition to what I'm doing now. And I really appreciate you sharing those those rituals, because even if the people don't, you have to start with something, right? And then tweak it along the way.
And tweak it, see what works for you. And I think that that's a real key. Is we've just talked about that little ritualistic, it's half an hour in the morning, and sometimes
Yes.
that's done at 4:30, sometimes done at 5, sometimes it's done at 5:30. When does my body wake up? It wakes up somewhere around that time.
Yeah. No,
And I
love
need that. I need to wake up that early because I do have a busy day.
You do. Yeah. Nope. And I appreciate you taking the time out for here for sure.
Oh, gosh, it's a pleasure.
Oh my goodness. So it says how we mentor matters. So when you mentor someone, and we are all mentors, so how do you make it matter? So when you are mentoring someone or you're helping them learn how to mentor others, how do you make it matter?
So let's define and just sift out for people what the word mentor may mean, because people generally think that mentoring means that they are with a team of people at work and that they are sort of teaching them the culture, so the invisible, by actioning, and they're also teaching them and sharing skills. It's a different than coaching because there's no monitoring as such. So the mentoring process in my world is, how are you influencing the people around you? That doesn't matter whether it's the child next door, your grandchild, your children at whatever age they are, and I don't believe it matters what age, or the team of people at work.
Mm-hmm.
In my mind, it is best if it is all done the same way, because it's based on what rituals you have at home, in bed,
Yes.
with your feet up watching the football, having a celebration with your family,
Wow.
in the board table, around the boardroom table, or in a toolbox meeting, depending on the level of and different types of business that you have and the number of people that you have in your family. It's all done the same way. And for me, over the years, I see so many people segment. This is who I am at home, and this is who I am in my business life and my work life.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, stop it. You're one person. We are all the same person. Use those rituals that you have at home and let them flow through your life. So if we're defining mentors as a person who has really good rituals and is taking care of themselves and carving out time, which we've spoken about,
Yeah.
then what are they? Are you experimenting? Are you educating yourself? Are you really defining your purpose on and on and on and getting it clearer and clearer?
And it
Are you able
changes.
to? It does. It changes.
Mm-hmm.
We're not here just, we have different purposes from being, a 10-year-old to a 20-year-old, 40, 50. It changes.
It does. Yeah, I definitely have learned that, right, over the years. And I think being able to impart that, like you have, we both try to do that with our children, with our families, with those around us, our communities, our neighborhoods, right, our business, all of it. Like you just said, it's definitely something that we carry the same person with us, right?
We don't change. Who are we?
Yeah.
And I see you do the same, Kim. I see you the same with your children and your grandchildren, and here on Coffee and Kim. I see you the same.
Oh, thank you. That's my intention, right?
Yeah. And I think that is being the best mentor that we can be.
Yeah. Oh my
And then
goodness.
how do we develop that? Do we have tools? Do we have rituals that we have in our daily life? Do we have routines and they are different?
Yeah.
Do we know what our values are? Do we know how we learn? so that we know how we are communicating. Do we have skills of being able to communicate in slightly different ways so that we can touch different audiences,
Yes.
whether it be
Wow.
our 5-year-old next door or our 6-month or a 90-year-old that we work with.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh, this is all so great. Um, I see you being the same way, right? I can see you with your children. I see the things that you do with them. Watch, how you interact with other mentors, how you give of yourself and how much you give to others. And so that is one of the main reasons why I wanted our generations need strong women to these girls to look up to, and not
Um,
just as a mother.
no, as a human being,
Mhm.
human beings are here to be, not to do. We are human beings, not human doings.
I love that.
Yeah, it's actually a Buckminster Fuller saying, and Buckminster Fuller was one of my mentors in the early 80s, and I learned
Oh
so
wow.
much from him.
Oh wow. What is his name again?
Buckminster Fuller.
Buckminster Fuller.
Hmm.
I've not
Hmm.
heard of him. I am going to look him up.
Look him up. He
Yeah.
still holds the largest number of patents on the planet. After he decided that he wasn't going to jump off that bridge and that he was responsible for his daughter, he realized that human beings are here to solve problems bigger than ourselves. And so he got on the track to solve as many problems as he possibly could. And so
Wow.
he built or designed a varying number of different types of models to solve problems. Some didn't solve, some did solve problems.
Wow. Yeah,
But
I
it's the
was
whole theory of the principles behind how he solved problems as a human being that I and people like Robert Kiyosaki studied in depth.
wow. That's yeah. That is something that is, I think it's a lifelong, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Pursuit.
I still pick up Buckminster Fuller's books and will read them. They're not easy to read. They're difficult to read because he doesn't speak in easy language. He speaks and uses words as to what the meaning of the word should be.
Wow.
And that
I
brings me to the point of integrity. No.
Yeah. I'm so
Yeah.
grateful because I was going to ask you who have been your mentors? What are some of the things that you learned? And this is a great example of that. So I appreciate
Well,
that.
I think Buckminster Fuller definitely. And then another man by the name of Bob Hoffman. Bob Hoffman actually, and the Hoffman process still runs in this day and age. But I did it again in the 1980s. I did a lot of stuff when my kids were babies because I realized that I was standing in my kitchen. A lot of people that I've trained have heard this story thousands of times, but I was standing in my little country kitchen and I was holding my newborn baby and I was looking down to my 5-year-old and I realized that I had absolutely no clue and felt so desperate that I was incapable of bringing up these children because I was so in my own personal development.
Hmm.
And so this realization happened that if I was so much in my own personal development, how could I see what my kids needed? Because I didn't know what I needed.
Yes, I know
And
that
that
feeling.
took me, yes, it was devastating for me. And here I had 2 babies.
Yeah. And I had 6 babies and I was still feeling like I was in over my head.
Oh, you would have been totally, you wouldn't have had time to scratch yourself, let alone think about yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's why I was constantly searching. Probably the last 15, 20 years, I have been like literally searching. I was searching for this little nugget and this little nugget and this little nugget. And how do I put all these pieces together? I don't know if you ever experienced that in that process.
I certainly have, yes.
Yeah.
And
But
so, Kim, can I ask you, because I believe that
yeah,
you are one of the women mentors that I see out there and really encouraging, your whole enthusiastic and on point with Coffee with Kim. What is it that now really brings those pieces together, if you could put it on as a label? As what type of mentor are you? What makes that your mentoring so important to you?
oh my goodness. I love that you've asked this because this is a lot of what I'm going to be launching. I have I'm a global communicator. That's kind of what I've put it out as, because I really want to empower women. I want to empower them with tools. So often, as out in the business world, as I talk to women, they they don't know where to start. They don't know where, how to find that purpose. They'll try this or that, and I want to be able to give them the tools that they need. I am very focused on tools. And so I'm coming out with a product. And one of the other things too is we have a hard time investing in ourselves. We'll buy our kids the best shoes and the best outfit, but to invest in ourselves in personal development, or if we start doing it and then we have people that tease us. People are going to hear about this on Monday's show, because the mentor I'm bringing on is one that I had started going down a road of personal development. And because of the things people said and did, I stopped. I was like that crystal that grows, and then the crystal stops. And then what has happened is another crystal has now grown over it. And so because of that, not being able to continue on. And so this is why I'm doing the mentor show. I want people to know that the reason why I'm able to do what I'm doing, I would not have Coffee with Kim without Joel Bauer. It was a result of masterclass. And that vision opening up to me. And I was never comfortable, and I'm still practice being on here. I'm still not, where I'm comfortable. I love doing this, but I love celebrating people. And I think that there's so many beautiful people like you. How would I have ever met you from Australia? Right? There's all these amazing people like you that have impacting people for years. And watching you has given me the ability to think, oh my gosh, she's been doing this. I can do this too.
And isn't that exciting?
It's amazing. And I
And I
want
do
women
have to say, oh, sorry, keep going.
no, I want people to know they can do it too.
Absolutely. And I've never met a woman, or a man actually, but a woman that does not have skills that would embellish some other woman's or family's life.
Yes. 100%. And it's inside of us, right?
It's already there.
It's already there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very powerful.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So I want people to know how they can get a hold of you, because this is very important to me. That is one of my purposes here, is to bring people on so they can connect with people that they can connect with. So one of the things you said, for someone who's already on their way to their business development and self-direction, go download her, so it's my OB book.
Yes, it's called Mind Your Own Business. And it's a book about business.
I love it. Oh my goodness. And then I also have another one for people who are defining their purpose and sifting out their why. Contact Downie. DieDownie.com/know your why, right?
Yes. So there's 2 free books there. The Know Your Why one is for people that are going, well, what is my why? What are my values? What do other women think? What are other women saying? Because I think part of this problem that we are addressing here is that often women feel that they're by themselves. And we're not, especially in these days when we can do this.
Yeah.
And then what happens is, because they're by themselves, they end up doing things the same as everybody else.
Yeah.
So I'm giving two gifts. One is the Know Your Why, which is the basis and a story of when I interviewed and when I was traveling the world, maybe about 10 years ago. I asked everybody the same question: what is it that's important to you? And they told me, and I wrote it in a book.
Wow.
It's just
Yeah.
it's a little ebook. And then the other one is just some little tips and overviews of what I've learned running my businesses over the last 40 years.
Wow. No, thank you so much for these gifts. So I can tell you my three. Mine is love what you do, serve others, and provide value. That is
And
what
I
I go
think
by.
they're beautiful. They're absolutely beautiful values. And I think for me, a key point is in my work and in my world, I go, it's great to know what our purpose is. And it's really exciting to be delving into that and to continually defining it. It's a whole new level when we realize how we can add value to other people.
It is.
A whole new level. And that's where we see our purpose. We don't see our purpose through ourselves. We see our purpose through how we give back.
I agree. And it's that others are our mirror, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that
All right.
then in turn helps us to direct ourselves, because we get this feedback if we are able to see how other people are coming back to us from what we have given.
Mm-hmm.
It's a continuous cycle.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh, Di, thank you so much for taking the time today. Is there anything else you would like to make sure people know before they get off, before we leave today?
Download the books. Have a look at the books. If you've got any questions, email me. You can go to my website. You can see the website there.
Yep. It's DiDownie.com. How easy is that?
Yes. Yeah, very easy.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Kim,
Again,
thank you very much for having me on your show. I've absolutely loved it. Thank you so much. And I hope that people will get back to you and congratulate you and celebrate with you as to what you're doing, especially on this topic of mentors. I think it's such an important issue right now of how can people really be sharing what it is that they want to share to change the world to be a better place.
And I love your message today on that we are all mentors.
We are, and I believe we are. Yes.
Well, thank you again. All right, everyone. I have a little bit of a delay, I think, between my video and my audio, so I hope it still comes out okay. But I want to thank my guest today, Di Downie. She is, as you can see, is a remarkable mentor in her own right. Has been doing it a very long time. And I hope you guys are enjoying this and continue to enjoy the rest of this week.